Welcome back, traders, to my market outlook on index futures for the week of February 8th. Now, past couple of weeks, it has been pretty messy, but we have non-farm payroll behind us now. So perhaps we can start looking for a fast run to liquidity. So let's go ahead and take a look at S&P on the weekly chart. Okay, so looking at S&P, we have the buy side liquidity above these highs, and I have the sell side liquidity below these lows. Now looking through here, there's not a lot of inefficiencies to make note of, although the only one is the recent weekly volume balance that we created in the past couple of weeks. Other than that, I am noting the lower wick, half of the lower wick. You can see that last week's body has respected that lower wick 50%, and I went ahead and marked out 50% of this wick as well. But other than that, I think we need to go down to the daily chart. Okay, so on the daily chart, you can see the past couple of weeks is pretty messy. We've been basically going up and down in this range. Not really clear what's going on, although I have marked out S&T on the lows here, and recently we do have S&T on the highs. Now, if I were to bet either on the sell side or the buy side, I'm going to slightly favor the buy side. We do have these S&Ts on both the lows and the highs. The only reason I'm really favoring the buy side is because these S&T highs, as you'll soon see on Nasdaq, Nasdaq did make a higher high, but just barely. If you look from afar, it looked like equal highs, whereas it was pretty obvious that Nasdaq made a higher low down here on the lows. So that's why I'm slightly favoring the buy side liquidity getting taken. So if we look at the weekly wicks here, we can see the daily candles are respecting that weekly wick 50%, and we did mark out this other 50% on the other weekly wick, and it does look like it is going to be the same as the daily wick as well. So I'm looking to both of these as the discount support. If we start trading below these wicks, especially if we take out this swing low down here, then I would think my analysis is invalid, and then I will turn my attention to the sell side. But unless we do that, I'm still going to be looking for the buy side. I want to see this weekly volume balance become support. I want to see price trade above it and come down to use it as support. And then I want to see this high get taken out, this high get taken out, and obviously I want price to go above here to take out the buy side liquidity. Okay, now moving on to Nasdaq on the weekly chart, we have sell side liquidity below these lows. I'm looking at these as the primary sell side liquidity. There is a little bit of sell side below there as well, but I want to just focus on the nearby sell side as my primary sell side. Same thing goes for the buy side. I want to focus on these relative highs as the primary buy side liquidity, even though we do have a little bit of buy side above there as well. Now looking at the chart, it looks even worse than S&P. There is no inefficiencies, no obvious inefficiency except for this small tiny volume of balance. But we've already went up and down through this range, so this kind of already is balanced. So I don't know if it's going to play a role, but I went ahead and just marked it. There's not really anything else. We do have this really long lower wick. I marked out 50%, and you can see that last week's candle, the body did respect this 50% of this wick. You can see it's above there. So just the same as for ES, I'm going to be slightly favoring the upside on Nasdaq. Now going into the daily chart, we can see the weekly wick 50% is right here, and we even have this really long one. I marked out the daily 50% of this wick as well. I don't really want to see price come down here, but if it does, I want to see these used as support. There's even this long one right here. I'm actually going to go ahead and mark it out right now. Just 50% of this really long wick. This could be used as support as well. It's pretty nearby, so really do want to see this being supported. Other than that, we have a volume imbalance in here on the daily. There's that weekly volume imbalance, and then we also have another daily. So a lot of holes here, and as you can see, it's pretty up and down in the range. Now I am favoring the upside because if you look at the S&T here on the lows, this is obviously a higher low, and the S&T on the highs, even though this is higher, it looks pretty flat, so relatively equal. So the SMTs on the high is not as strong as the SMTs on the low, so I'm just gonna slightly favor the buy side. Of course, I want this to be used as support. I want this to be support if it gets there. Hopefully it won't get there, but I want to see price trade up. And there we have a small daily fair value gap, a daily BISI. It would be really nice if we can see price trade above this BISI and then come back and reclaim this fair value gap and then launch price higher for the buy side above these relative equal highs. And of course, the buy side above these relative equal highs are going to be my primary buy side. So as you can see, we've had some pretty nasty price action the past couple of weeks, but I framed my analysis in only one direction. I favor the upside as long as my support levels are not broken through. If I do change my bias, I will make sure to post an update and let you guys know. So make sure to give this video a like and subscribe in case I post an update. And until I see you next time, safe trading.